Well, welcome to episode 13 of the Scott Allen CreatiVLOG. I'm Jason. This is Jeff. Thank you for joining us today. Last time that we were talking, we were discussing some aspects of research and how to go about it, and we looked at doing the research within. That means asking the stakeholders questions and interviewing them. It's looking at your own brand and mission and kind of evaluating some of those aspects. And so in this episode, we want to look at the outside. What does that mean, looking at the outside?
First of all, I want you to look at your competition. What other nonprofits are within your space, in your region, that you know you're going for the same donor dollars for? I know some people don't like the word competition in nonprofits, but basically that's kind of how you feel sometimes. Maybe that isn't the right word, but look at other nonprofits who are in your space, in your region, and what do they look like? What are they saying? You don't want to look like them. You don't want to say the exact same things they're saying. Your headlines have to be different. Your brand has to be different. When we're talking with a nonprofit that was in the affordable housing space, we recognize that we have Habitat for Humanity. Don't use the same blue. You know, that simple stuff like that, but it really is important. Secondly, look at best in class. And that's where you are looking beyond your region, and you could have either a national search or a global search, other nonprofits that are in your space that are really doing an amazing job. And the example of that would be Charity Water years ago. When we looked at their website maybe 5 years ago, it was just an amazing messaging of immediately you understood their mission, you were attracted to want to become part of their mission, very engaging. That would be an example of best in class.
Going back to competition, I even had an interaction with somebody that started a nonprofit, doing some great work with students and youth and the digital age. And I've been following him and all his work. He's incredibly influential. And then I talked to him on the phone one day and I said, "Hey, how's this going?" And I thought what I was asking was something in regards to his nonprofit, just maybe an arm of it, because the name was very similar. The look was very similar. And he kind of just, in a disappointment of response, was, "That's not us. That's somebody else who basically stole the idea and branded in a way that made it seem like it was his."
Wow.
And so there was already some confusion.
Yeah.
He had started this nonprofit first, then somebody years later, they were working together, and then they decided to just do something very similar. And how sad it is there is that competition in the nonprofit world, and yet it can create so much confusion. And so it's not so much that, yes, you were like, oh, competition may seem bad in the nonprofit world. It's just to eliminate the confusion, because you don't want somebody else to think that you are doing what your competition is doing and then start maybe donating to that competition because they thought it was you. And if I hadn't known better, I would have completely thought that this other organization was my friends, unless I had asked them otherwise.
That's a great point. That's perfect.
So, you know, there is that aspect that you want to be able to look at what other people are doing and then try to steer away from what you said, like headlines and messaging and colors and all of that.
And for best in class, you can almost look at it like I remember when I was in high school, I was an athlete, and one of the things I did was pole vault. So I tried to exactly look at how do they lift themselves up over the pole without falling backwards, hitting the grass. I want to know how they made that lift, right? Or same with football. Whatever sport you play, you want to emulate the superstars, the people who are the best in that sport. It's kind of like that. I want to emulate those who are doing an amazing job with messaging, powerful storytelling, engaging millions of people. Why wouldn't I want to emulate that? They're doing a beautiful job. Let's recognize that and follow them. Let's figure it out.
So then you have this tension between the two. So you look at your competition, and then you also look at the best in class. And how do you hold the two? That's
a great question.
In between, because you go, well, I don't want to be like them, but at the same time, I want to emulate them and what is working for them, or does that make sense?
Am I contradicting myself?
No. I think it just is some clarity on.
No, I feel like I am. Cut.
No, I think when you do look at competition, you go, all right, avoid this. But when they tell a good story, if they are raising tens of millions of dollars, you go, what is the insight? How do I go about doing that? What are some of the leadership aspects of it? How did they craft their mission statement? Is it clear? Maybe we need to clarify as well. So you look at best in class of who's doing it really well, without stealing their ideas. I think that's it.
I want to give you an example of that. I remember, I must have been 8 or 10 years ago. I was driving to Panera Bread on Saturday morning to do some work, and I saw crowds of women at Rivertown Mall. I thought, what is going on? And I'm at Panera. An hour later, a whole bunch of women come walking in. All of them with Susan G. Komen for the cure. And I thought, why have they, at that time, as an organization trying to cure breast cancer, why have they attracted so many people? Why were all these women doing this for that nonprofit and not another one? Mm-hmm. And I learned from that, well, they had a person at the center of their brand, like the hero we were talking about.
Yeah.
Susan G. Komen, the founder, it was her sister that passed away of breast cancer. The whole brand was around one person's journey. And that's what I learned from them. It's like, okay, I'm going to take that insight and apply that, right? Rather than just some generic name.
Putting pink on everything or...
Well, they overtook, Pink. They owned Pink.
Yeah.
You see it everywhere in the stores in October. And that's the other thing, that really powerful brand attraction where I want to be a part of that. I want to be part of that tribe. We learn from the best, so don't forget that.
Yes. Well, I hope you have gleaned some insight from this episode, and I hope you join us for the next one.